Hey, what's up, guys? Zero One, and today I'm going to be speaking to you about Star Trek, the new film, the Star Trek Beyond, and it's directed by Justin Lin, and what was it? J.J. Abrams is still producing, but it's a whole new take on the original series. It's, you could say, the Kelvin timeline. I think that's how people are saying it. And in this film, we have a new baddie, and this baddie hasn't come out at all in any of the original series or the Next Generation of Voyager at all, or Deep Space Nine. He's like, you could say, the original. He's an original bad guy for this film. His name is Karl, and he has his grudge with the Federation. It never quite fully solidified his motivation. He had I think, what was it, 3 different motivations. One, because he felt Starfleet abandoned his crew there in this planet, this unknown planet called Ultima, and or I think another motivation or another reason he was upset with Starfleet was that they made peace with his enemies, and he was like, well, I mean, come on, we worked so hard against, fighting these Zindi and Romulans, and you just like go ahead and just make peace with them. And the other one was he just went mad and crazy, and he just wants to get this weapon and wants to help the human race or Starfleet itself to evolve and get stronger and better, because that's the only way a race or a species improves. It's just the motivation wasn't there. I wasn't buying it, and it was, in a sense, it felt like it was forced. That's one of the things that I can say about the script. There's certain things that they were just forced into this film because they just wanted it to be like it. Like, how can I put it? Their own personal point of view of what their world narrative is, or in other words, they weren't doing it to improve the characters or to improve the Star Trek franchise. They were just doing it because they wanted to do it, and to do it because you want to do it, it's not that good of a reason. Yeah, and Star Trek Beyond, it just deals with the Kirk and his crew being placed in a situation where they have to survive by trying to learn of this new country, this new planet that they crash land on, and it feels, there are certain parts of the script that I really did like. It was basically the interaction between Kirk and Chekhov, and also between Spock and Bones, who most of the time you in the original series with William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy, you see Spock and Bones disagreeing on a lot of issues in a lot of different ways, and then this one they're trying to survive together, and at the same time you see some pretty good banter from one another. I didn't really like the whole situation with Uhura and Sulu being in prison, and there's no repercussions for their actions. There's no repercussion because they disobeyed the main baddie, which he somehow is going around and sucking life force from the crews or previous crews that he has attacked, so he can stay alive for the next 100 years. Star Trek Beyond is a very beautiful looking film. It is very bright, cinematography wise. It's also done very well. It just feels like the future is a very beautiful place that you would want to be there and visit it. But one thing that I loved about Star Trek, the Next Generation and Voyager and the original series, was you get to see real world issues done in a sci-fi setting, and like racism, prejudice, sexism, all these different things that we as human beings struggle through or fight through to improve as a species. But even at that, I just felt like we're rehashing the same thing that they rehashed or they came up with Star Trek Into Darkness. Like, for example, Federation represents kind of like the Western mentality of freedom for all. liberty for all, rights for all these people and all these different species and civilizations, that we need to work together to improve. But it's like the ones who are bringing it upon themselves, or the West is bringing evil upon itself because of what what it's doing or what it has done in the past. So that's how I felt with Star Trek Beyond. It just felt like this baddie is a victim, or he's misunderstood, or it's just I just can't understand that this man who has seen so much combat, Karl, he was an officer who fought intergalactic different species and different races, and he was a protector of the human race basically. And I can't imagine like this man who fought to help establish the Federation, and who basically cared about the human race. He just turns his back because he felt hurt and betrayed that his crew was abandoned there on this planet, where they could survive. The planet looked very much hospitable for habitable. There you go, habitable to do agricultural, to do different to build a colony basically. My idea was, and that's because I'm not really that intelligent of a person, but somehow the original captain of the U.S.S. Franklin, the original crew of the Franklin found these alien drones with that they can actually maneuver these small little jets or spacecrafts that can actually leave the atmosphere and travel interstellar. And I was thinking to myself, well, why didn't they just reprogram the drones to go out into space? Because the drones are basically robots. They don't need food. They don't need air. They could just send out a couple of 100 drones out there into space to send a message to Starfleet, and tell them where the crew of the Franklin is located. So, but yeah, I just felt there was just a lot of things just didn't make sense at all. Seriously, Starfleet has the cream of the crop, and they couldn't figure out how to actually do a colony there in this Earth-like planet. And I was very much disappointed with Star Trek Beyond. It's more of a rental than anything else. Do I recommend it for the family? No, not really. You could probably watch some of the old Star Trek films and episodes that really kind of bring up really good issues, and at the same time that it entertains you. I think one of the ones that I really liked was from the films of Star Trek was First Contact. First Contact, I definitely recommend you guys watching it. Wrath of Khan, also that one. The Voyage Home, also that's another good one. It's very funny. It's very original. It's very original. What was it originally done with Leonard Nimoy directing that one. He directed that one, The Voyage Home. Another one that was very well done was 2009 Star Trek, the rebooted series, and that was also done very well. I love how J.J. Abrams directed that one. The way he captured the action between ship to ship combat, the way he captured the fast pace of the film, and it flowed very organically, very well, very smooth. I was blown away with Star Trek 2009. It really was, and it was a beautiful film, cinematographer wise. You love the characters, you fall in love with them. Kirk and Spock, their interaction, their banter, their way of thinking, the way of interacting with one another, and also helping one another. That's a film I recommend. That's a Star Trek film I recommend the audience to watch. But this one, no, Star Trek Beyond, you can go and wait until it comes out as a rental. It really bothers me because with having all this technology, with having all this different creative people, you come up with a script that's just nonchalant. It just felt like it was just a rush script. That's how I see it. It was just a rush script. You created a villain that was weak, that he himself doesn't even know his own motivations. The rest of the characters who basically, even the main baddie Karl, he disciplines his prisoners who obey him, but those who disobey him, he leaves them to live. Like Okura and Sulu were walking around the camp of the enemy because they're prisoners. Somehow they figured out a way to unlock the gate, and they're walking around trying to send a signal out to Starfleet. And Karl finds out with the rest of his drones, and he leaves them to live. Basically, he doesn't suck their life force so he can become stronger or youthful. And it was just kind of like, and the prisoners who will listen to him and help him out, he would just execute them. I just felt like, what the heck? Star Trek Beyond is, I think it got hit after 2 weeks. It dropped 60% of its revenue, or not revenue, of its people or audience going to watch it. It's not. A lot of Trekkers were very upset with the trailer because as soon as the trailer came out, they saw that, oh man, this is going to be Fast and Furious in space, and there were certain scenes that it was Fast and Furious in space, but overall the reason why I feel not a lot of people are going back to watch Star Trek Beyond is just the script itself. People do want to be entertained, but at the same time, they still want to use their brain, especially if it's a Star Trek film, to analyze certain issues, to analyze certain things that the human race goes through on an everyday basis. Kind of like, what's the meaning of life? What's my purpose? Why do I exist? Stuff like that. That I truly believe Star Trek really captured that, and that's one of the reasons I always loved Star Trek over, any other sci-fi property, because it really made you think about a lot of different issues. And this one, it just felt like everything was forced upon you, forced to listen to sabotage, because that's the way we're gonna beat the enemy. We send the song out into their frequency, and bam, they blow up, and it just felt, everything just felt forced. Karl felt forced. Sulu's marriage felt forced. The mass weapon of destruction that Karl wants, that felt forced. Another thing that felt forced was just the Enterprise and Starfleet just willingly to go help out a stranger that they don't even know, that never met, an alien species that they never had an interaction with. And they go off into this, journey where it was just kind of like, what the heck? And another thing that really shocked me and surprised me was that nobody from Starfleet, especially from that space station, went to go check on the Enterprise, because it took them a good time, what was it, 3 days to basically come out of the unknown planet, and nobody from Starfleet sent a small little freighter or a satellite or anything through this nebula to get to the Enterprise. Like I said, it just was forced. It was just forced. Everything was forced. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. Jesus is King. Have a great day. Peace.